In this video, I'm going to share a sketchy situation that I was in where I felt physically threatened, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to you too. What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Drives Fast for the Rideshare Guy, and in this video, we're going to talk about some tips to stay as safe as possible when driving for the food delivery apps. Let's get into my experience. This happened on Grubhub, but the platform doesn't really matter, as it just as easily could have happened on DoorDash or Uber Eats. It was towards the end of my shift when I got an order picking up at a sushi place. This order was going to a neighborhood that I wouldn't call particularly nice, but I also wouldn't classify it as dangerous either. Now, the order was supposed to be leave it at the door, but when I got there, the man was standing there behind a closed screen. He asked me why his last order didn't show up, and me, completely misreading the situation, made light of it and said, well, this one showed up. He swung his screen door open and started screaming at me in a very aggressive way. Not that you can really scream at somebody in a non-aggressive way, but I digress. He wanted to know why I would choose to work for such a lousy company. He just kept backing me up, and I swore he was going to take a swing at me. He was no more than a couple of feet away from me the entire time. Although it was very unsettling, I stayed calm and I didn't do anything to escalate the situation any further. Thankfully, it ended okay. I ended up setting the food down while backing away. I don't know why this guy was set off so easily. Apparently he wanted to act like the freaking Hulk that day. Now, I'm a 6-foot-something stocky guy, and this gentleman was substantially smaller than I am. Clearly, something gave this man the confidence where he could come at me like that. But I've never forgotten this experience, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Now, we've all seen the headlines. DoorDash driver shot, Uber Eats driver robbed, Grubhub driver carjacked. Alarmingly, we're hearing more and more cases of drivers that end up in situations that result in serious bodily injury or death. And we're just trying to do our jobs. But it's not just delivering to homes and encountering sketchy situations. We're also on the road far more than your average driver. Road rage incidents have become a very common problem as well. In fact, according to a report by the NTSB, road rage incidents in my home state of Washington involving firearms have tripled over the past 5 years. That is a huge increase. In addition, other aggressive driving behaviors such as weaving in and out of traffic, tailgating, and honking are leading to a rise in serious accidents and fatalities. These incidents are a stark reminder of the risks that we as drivers face on a daily basis, especially since we often work odd hours and alone. And let's not forget, we drive far more miles than your average person does, therefore making it far more likely that we're going to run into somebody having a bad day. That brings us to what we can do to protect ourselves. Here are a few simple ideas. First, share your location with somebody that you trust, especially if you're going to be in an area you're unfamiliar with. If you're an iPhone user, you can simply go into your settings and share your location with a friend, a loved one, or an overbearing partner. I'm not sure if Androids have the same features, but I do know that there are third-party apps that you can install to achieve the same thing. As an added benefit, this is also very helpful if your phone's ever stolen or you misplace it. Next, always carry a flashlight with you. Not only will this help you find hard-to-see addresses at night, it could potentially help you blind a would-be attacker in the event that you're caught off guard. This could give you a few extra seconds to get away. Next, it may not be a bad idea to carry pepper spray with you. This is kind of one of those better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it type of things. When parking your car, try to choose well-lit areas that are visible to others. This can deter attackers and make it easy for others to see if you're in trouble. Potential attackers or thieves often look for easy targets, and you don't want to be a statistic. Set dedicated check-in times with somebody that you trust. That way, if you miss your check-in time, they can call you, and if you don't answer, they can get in touch with the authorities. It may not be a bad idea to give yourself a grace period of 10 or 15 minutes, as we frequently do get distracted and time is easy to slip away. Here's another idea. If you're going into an area that makes you uneasy, keep somebody on the phone with you until you leave that area. And of course, you do need to let that person know where you are. I've done this a few times, and don't get me wrong, I'm all about my customers' anonymity, but if it's between that and my safety, all bets are off. I remember one night in particular. It was cold, wet, windy, and rainy, and I was out delivering at about 10 p.m. to a Hills Have Eyes type of trailer park in the middle of nowhere in the county. And I was hearing gunshots not too far from me. Keep in mind, it was not hunting season or weather. To make matters worse, none of the addresses were visible on the trailers, and my customer was, of course, unresponsive. Needless to say, I wanted to get out of Dodge as quickly as possible, but I also wanted to stay safe. So I called a driver friend of mine, told her where I was, and kept her on the phone until I was back on a main road. My next tip for you is don't be afraid to say no. Most of the time our delivery instructions are reasonable, but in the event that you're being asked to do something that you're not particularly comfortable with, do not hesitate to tell that person no. If you're not comfortable telling a customer no, get in touch with support and have them tell the customer no. And of course, it should go without saying, but never go inside your customers' homes. If you're sketched out, you can turn around and drive that order right back to the restaurant and have support unassign you from it. Do not hesitate to use this option if you feel like you're being asked to do something unsafe. I'd like to move on to road rage. Admittedly, in the past, I've had no problem showing my disapproval for other drivers' actions in the form of gestures and mean mugs. But I've also gotten lucky that I've never done it to somebody who was unhinged. Here are some steps that you can take to avoid becoming the victim of a maniacal driver. Stay calm. If you can, pull over to the slow lane and let them pass you. And as tempting as it may be, do not flip them off, brake check them, or tailgate them. In fact, don't even make eye contact with aggressive drivers. Just let them move on past. In the event that you have somebody following you, drive to the closest police department and watch that person get unignorant really quick. By being aware of the risks and taking proactive steps to keep yourself safe, drivers can help prevent the escalation of road rage incidents and make the road safer for everyone. Have you ever had a scary or sketchy situation when you've been out driving? Let us know in the comment section below. What is your best safety tip for other drivers? Let us know. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to the Rideshare Guy. If you enjoyed this video, you may also enjoy this video where I talk about recent DoorDash updates and whether or not they'll affect tips. I'm Zach Drives Fast for the Rideshare Guy. Take care.